Consider that a divorce.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shade.
and today we're talking about Paul um,
Verhoeven.
Verhoeven. What did I say?
I don't know. I think you
Hmm.
cut out.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Either you cut
Well,
out or you said something wrong. I don't know. Paul
could
Verhoeven.
could have been both. Could have been both. Whatever. Yeah, we're talking Paul Verhoeven. We've got two. Uh, we've got some interesting stuff to talk about here with Showgirls, the 1995 movie, and the 1990 Total Recall. But before we do that, we always like to talk about some movies that we've seen recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Also, for the record, Showgirls was Ryan's pick. I
well,
chose
okay.
Total
Well,
Recall, and Ryan chose Showgirls. So we'll get to that later. And we will be talking about both those movies with a full spoiler, in-depth discussion. But the what we've seen recently is just a quick little overview, a couple of things we could recommend. So, Ryan, do you want to kick it off with something?
sure. I'm gonna start with Cujo, the Stephen King novel made into a movie, the 1980s movie. I've never read this book, but it's been on my list, and it sounds pretty cool. And the movie's pretty awesome. It's one uh, that I have not seen until this year, so pretty pretty cool to see it. I put it on my October list, and it was fun. I was surprised, I think, by some aspects of it, but it has some pretty good makeup, dog makeup, uh, and
Nice.
it's pretty tense and pretty spooky. The first, I would say, this is kind of true with some kind of an issue I have with a lot of Stephen King adaptations is that I think the pacing isn't the best here, but I do think that it's worth it in the end. So I think it's a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it.
Nice. Yeah, all I know about Cujo, I've never seen it, but it's the killer dog movie. Is that a
Killer
good way to
Dog,
sum it up? That's
that's
the high concept.
high concept, easy enough.
Cool. All right. I I've only seen a few things recently, but after one battle after another, I rewatched Punch Drunk Love. Amazing movie, fantastic. Yeah, not really that much else to say about it. It's just like amazing. Pretty much whatever PTA movie you've seen last, you're probably like, man, that might be his best movie. And then you watch like a different one, you're like, dang, that might be his best movie too. I don't know. So yeah, this one, just a brilliant movie, great performances, great cinematography, nice like 96 minutes too. A lot of PTA movies are long as hell, but Punch Drunk Love, nice and short, funny, also sad, also heartwarming. It's amazing. And also wanted to mention I saw a short film directed by Hayao Miyazaki. It's called On Your Mark, and it's a 7 minute short film that's like also a music video for I forget the name, the artist that was for, but a Japanese band. It's from 1995, and it's very short, but there's this sort of cyberpunky universe, and there's some sort of totalitarian government going on, and I don't want. That's all I'm gonna say because it's only 7 minutes, so there's not that much going on. But there's no dialogue. It's just the music playing in the background and great animation, a really cool little story. You can find it on the internet. I think it's on like maybe some Japanese Blu-rays as like a bonus feature or something like that, maybe. But I just found it on the internet, and I would highly recommend it. This is kind of like a hidden little Miyazaki side quest, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. So would
Nice,
highly recommend people check that out. It's called On Your Mark.
very nice, cool. Um, I've got two more real quick that I'll spit off real quick. One is brand new, just came out, kind of Black Phone 2. Um,
Ah,
this is I forget if I actually had this on my list of most
you
in.
did.
I did,
Oh
excellent.
no, no. Oh, I think maybe it was most anticipated. I don't remember, but you had Black Phone 1 on your what to watch for Halloween list.
That's right, and this is kind of why. And so this is obviously the sequel to the first one, and it I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I went in. I would say my expectations were kind of mid, maybe. I was pretty excited, but I knew they were doing something totally different. And so the first one has much more of like a thriller kind of. It has horror elements, but it's more kind of built around the suspense and tension, and it's more of like an isolation piece. Whereas this is kind of trying to go like a classic slasher route, and it's got some campiness, it's got some fun stuff going on. It's gory as hell. It's a lot of fun. I would recommend it. I think there's some neat stuff. I think there's, dang, I'm gonna say it. I feel like the pacing was a little off at times,
This guy, if a
but
movie's more than 90 minutes, it's the pacing, the pacing. No,
yeah, yeah,
just
I
kidding.
know. Well, no, I think there's a lull in the middle, as I think can be common with movies like this. But I think overall it was worth watching. And if you've seen the first one, I think you can watch this. I think even if you didn't see the first one, you could watch this and just have a good time with it. I don't think you really need the first. So
Nice. Yeah, I saw that it was a big, not a big hit, but pretty successful weekend at the box office. But yeah, didn't see the first one. Don't not like dying to see this series necessarily, but I've heard they're good, so maybe I'll watch them one day.
yeah, hey, maybe.
We'll
Um,
see.
yeah. Well,
Maybe when they're on Black Phone 5, I'll
yeah,
I'll buy a box set and I'll hate all the movies and then I'll give it to you.
that sounds like a Shane thing to do for sure.
20 years from now.
Oh, if you think it'll take 20 years,
Well, it's been like 20 years since the first Paranormal Activity, almost. Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
15 years.
And the other thing I'll throw out is a movie called from 1967. It's like a
VIY, right?
DIY, yes. It's like a Ukrainian folk horror movie about a like training clergyman, I guess, that goes and like watches over a corpse for 3 days while doing like last rites on it each night. I think that's like the ritual that he's doing. Um, and stuff gets weird each night, and it gets weirder and weirder. And the final night is bonkers. It's real crazy, real fun. It's only like 76 minutes, and I was just looking real quick. I have it in a box of things, but you can watch it on Tubi. And you know, we've talked a lot about Tubi on this. We've got some problems with it, but it is free to watch. You can find it on there. And I would recommend it. It's pretty,
Nice.
that final day, that final night is pretty awesome.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I've heard good things about this movie. I'd never heard of it until pretty recently, maybe within the past year or less, but it was on the Criterion channel at one point. Maybe it was around last Halloween or something like that. I don't remember. But and so it was on my radar, but I never actually watched it. So I should. It's short,
It's short.
it's I've heard good things. So
It
it's on the list. If it ends up back on the Criterion channel, I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, you can't complain about that pacing, can you?
I No, you cannot. I mean, come on, it's 76 minutes.
There you go, 76 minutes. Well, I'll say, are we done with our what we've seen recently?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Total Recall, no pacing problems with Total Recall.
That is
Fucking
true.
boom. It like punches you in the face and it just goes and never stops. It's fantastic. Showgirls, on the other hand, maybe not the best pacing. We'll get into it. But yeah, so spoiler warning for Showgirls and Total Recall. This episode is titled Showtal Recall. So that means we're gonna start with Ryan's pick. To emphasize again, Ryan's pick, Showgirls.
We don't have to. It was
We
it was a
we could
mutual
have
discussion. We had a lot of conversation
we
about
could
what
have
to.
watched RoboCop.
Yeah, we
We
could.
could have watched Starship Troopers. But no,
Instead, we
Showgirls.
watched over 2 hours of so this, I guess.
I will say Showgirls, it's not uninteresting. There's always something happening to keep your interest.
This is true. And
A lot of it's not good, but it's there's always something going on
And there is some interesting stuff going on in the movie, just like concepts and whatever. But
thematically.
yeah, and so um, you know, we start off by Nomi is hitchhiking and gets taken into the city. There's some pretty funny stuff that happens, I would say, like right in the beginning. The whole I think like that beginning scene kind of sets the tone pretty well, almost. Other than like all the excessive nudity and everything, you don't really get that glimpse yet. But other than that, this like opening scene with the hitchhiking, like she pulls the knife on the guy and is like pretty over the top acting, and he's like swerving into a 18-wheeler
Yeah.
truck for no reason. Like it's like weird, it's over the top, it
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense. And
And it already introduces like the idea of like men trying to uh sexually being sexually, well, I don't know if this guy's being abusive, but you know what I mean, trying to take advantage of her sexually in various
yeah,
ways.
yeah, definitely. And we get pretty quick. She's in the casino losing all of her money. No, she wins money, then loses it all.
Well, she is given like $10 by the guy who picked her up to, oh yeah, and she makes the money and then she loses it all, and then she realizes she's been scammed out of her suitcase.
Yes, that's right. And she meets uh
Molly.
Molly, thank you.
Yes.
Which is funny. At one point, someone's saying, I need Molly, when they're in like the dressing rooms and
Oh,
stuff. And I thought I didn't realize what they were saying for a while there,
different
but
meaning.
different meaning. But
This was 30 years ago, which is fucked up, but yeah,
that's
30 years ago.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the opening, I would say, is like that stretch where once you meet Molly, but and I think it like it's weird, it's quirky, it's funny, it's like kind of discombobulated. It doesn't feel like it's over the
There's,
top. It's
yeah,
yeah.
she's slamming herself on the car. She's throwing her ketchup
The
different
ketchup
places. Yeah.
ketchup's a volcano. That bottle
Yes,
is a
the
volcano.
fries go flying, like just
Yeah.
completely insane like line deliveries, and yeah, it's crazy. And this was your first time seeing Showgirls, right?
Yeah.
Did you know what to expect at all?
No.
Did you know this movie was like reviled, like considered one of the worst movies ever when it came out? None of
No.
none. So that's interesting. You had basically a blank slate.
Yeah, this I actually went in like I didn't look anything into it before. I mean, I obviously I knew we were gonna watch it once I picked it. So like all I knew was kind of the tagline. The, Letterbox seems to be the most generous of the outlets to this, and this is where we
Oh
usually
yeah.
find our stuff. When we're at least for me
Well,
when we're going through stuff to pick an episode or pick our movies for an episode. So I'm looking on Letterbox and it looks not terrible. I mean, I think I mentioned that it had a slope similar to what Werner Herzog might try to put a boat over
oh yeah, yeah.
when we were looking
Yes.
last time.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think this movie, I don't know if you know that. There's a whole documentary about the movie if you ever want to watch it. It's called You Don't Know Me, Nomi. It's a good documentary. But yeah, this movie was kind of um like accepted and beloved by a lot of like the gay community, I think, and as like a camp, like ridiculous, over the top, funny, campy movie. Pretty much like unintentionally so. I think there are people who claim that they were trying to make a comedy, which I do not believe, but I think that's what some people say nowadays in retrospect. But yeah, so it kind of got like embraced as like a campy classic. And I think that's a lot of the reason that it has such high ratings is that people will watch it. They'll there's like an iconic commentary uh for the movie with I forget the guy's name. I haven't seen it, but I don't think he's related with the movie at all. He might just be like a film critic or a cultural critic or something like that. And he's kind of just like making snarky remarks along with the movie as like, almost Mystery Science Theater type of
Yeah.
a thing. So I think it got like very embraced in that type of a way. But I think it's fascinating that you didn't know that at all. So you just thought this was like a normal movie.
Yeah, I just thought this was like a normal I I just thought this was gonna be like a normal, and so that but that first but that first scene
This is
really,
the least normal movie like ever made. This is
well,
like this is like Cannibal Holocaust, but for like sexuality or something.
so
It's like
obviously like
insane.
I've seen Starship Troopers,
Hmm.
RoboCop, Total Recall before. So I don't like,
Yeah.
not that I
And
was
this is
expecting one of those, but those are all like
sharp
uh
social satires, action movies, sci-fi. Yeah.
yeah, very
Very,
different than this. And obviously I know that Paul Verhoeven has done other stuff. Um but like I don't know. I guess I was expecting something more mainstream.
I think they were trying to make something mainstream. I think they just
Yes.
utterly failed.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think like so watching it, that first scene did set me up into a position of being like, um, um, oh, this is gonna be like a funny camp thing. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what I went in after that first scene. I was pretty into that idea. I have some problems with it, but I was like pretty into the idea of the camp stuff.
Yeah.
Also, I realize I keep saying I see what I'm doing. I keep saying Bear in Hooven or something instead of
Oh,
Bear Hooven. I don't know why, but
I don't
anyways,
know.
not like it matters. But I did it. I did it again, and I was like, I see what I'm doing wrong. Anyways, um, so I think I was like kind of into it at the beginning here with
Right. I get that. It is funny. There are a lot of fun. This is one of the weirdest, like when I was after watching it, I'm sitting there, I'm like, what are you like, how do you rate this movie? Like in a way, it's a terrible movie, but it has a lot of interesting ideas and it's not aside from the last, I'd say like 30-ish minutes, it's like pretty enjoyable to watch. Like you're kind of shocked and uh, uh almost in awe at the tastelessness of it all and the overacting, the funny dialogue. Like it is a pretty enjoyable experience. The ending is definitely where I think it kind of ruins this being like a camp, like rewatchable, campy classic for me personally, just because the ending is so it's distasteful to the point where I can't laugh along with the movie in any type of a way, and it just like sucks. So it kind of ruins it for me in that way. But but yeah, I don't hate the movie in the way that a lot of people like when it came out, it was people were like, yeah, this is like the worst movie ever. It's complete garbage. But I think the movie's entertaining and interesting in different ways. And there are a lot of interesting themes. I think the movie's most interesting, like as this sort of expose of the entertainment industry and women being uh sexually exploited in like the entertainment industry. And maybe I'm like kind of going all over the place. I don't know if you were trying to go chronologically, but just to talk about this topic, like I do think that last shot is like completely genius, where they never mention Hollywood, they never mention movies, they never mention acting, none of it. It's all music and Vegas showgirl scene. But it's still the entertainment industry, and there's still auditions, and there are constantly men. There are men like trying to coerce women into having sex with them, like sexual favors for work type of stuff. Like, and then the very last shot of the movie, it ties back to the hitchhiking. It's the same guy, which is insane, but whatever. And then we see the sign of Nomi Malone Goddess, the billboard, and we crane up above it, and we see a sign for Los Angeles. And it's just like such a perfect ending of saying like your point without actually saying it in the movie that like I feel like this is like I don't know. I feel like it feels like the filmmakers are trying to expose like, hey, this shit happens in Hollywood too. And uh it's fucked up and horrible. And that's like the goal of it, which is like fascinating and really good. Like it's I mean this is like 20 years or yeah, 20
yeah,
years before like Me Too and all that and Time's Up and all that stuff kind of came to the public consciousness. But like and this is before the internet too, where it's like you could look up think people's, you know, history and stuff like that. So like I think that is a commendable part of the movie in some way, like the like a commendable intention of the movie, and it is kind of interesting. But it's just like such a misfire in so many ways that it really undercuts that. And I mean, not to just maybe I'll just say the it's I mean trigger warning for sexual assault. It's the rape scene at the end is fucking horrible. It's brutal and it's like horrible to watch. And so I'm like, yeah, I can't there's no rewatchability to the movie really with that scene in there. And I get, and that's why I don't believe that they were ever trying to make a comedy at all, because that scene doesn't fit in any comedy in any type of a way,
You can't
obviously.
put that. Yeah, no,
No.
right? Like, yeah,
And like oh man, just the third act of this movie is a fucking disaster. Like,
it's like a
it
totally different movie, really. Like,
it is
the final act really feels kind of like Black Swan, Perfect Blue esque in a way. In like that you know descent to doing.
the like dark the how dark it is basically.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
And it's so weird like her, Molly gets gang raped like brutally, and it's
yeah,
not like you see the whole thing. Well, you pretty much see a lot of it. It's terrible. And then Nomi like visits her in the hospital, and then she goes and she basically like beats him up and like kicks him in these ridiculous which is it's just a ridiculous scene. Like for this to be like right after this horrific scene, and now we have this ridiculous and silly revenge where it's like, okay, this guy is nothing has happened to this guy. Like there is no actual revenge to it. And then she goes, and now this is her best friend who gave her a house when she had nowhere to stay. She's been like the best friend to her. She basically is like, "Oh, hey, I kicked that guy in the face a couple times. You're welcome." And then she leaves. What are we doing? And like it just makes it like it's just so weird. Like maybe the point is, I mean, Nomi is a pretty horrible person the whole movie. Like she's pretty awful to every single person she interacts with in various ways. But
yeah.
but like it's just so like I can't comprehend people being like, yeah, we should leave this in the movie. Like you could just cut all that out and just reshoot some scene where, or just leave the stuff with Gina Gershon, or I don't know, do something else, literally anything else. Like it was just, I don't
Yeah,
know. So it's where like the movie having the intentions of being like this dark expose of sexual exploitation, like meets the horrific bad execution, and like where they can't coexist anymore. And so it just kind of like ruined the movie. That doesn't ruin it kind of ruins the movie. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
think
my opinion.
it feels definitely like there's that disconnect there of like half of this movie, more than half of this movie, feels like a pretty campy comedy with whatever going on, some theming and stuff. But the last bit really feels like just a total dark tonal shift. Doesn't really feel like belongs in the same movie, right? I mean, it feels like you could have two different movies here that I don't think there's quite enough, for that second thing to have been its own movie because the rest of it's pretty goofy. But like, if you wanted to make that, it's a different movie you have to make. Like
Yeah,
this doesn't work for that setting. Like that doesn't fit into this as a setting because this is so goofy and funny. I mean, like you said, right?
yeah.
Like I can see
That's
this being
why,
like a cult comedy classic, which maybe whatever people appreciate that about it. But then it's like, do you just turn it off when you get like
yeah,
that? I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't watch the ending again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
Um, yeah, I mean, I do want to see the ketchup bottle again. That was pretty awesome. That was funny, but like, if it feels weird to be like, yeah, this movie's like I would rate this movie different if it ended 20 minutes earlier or whatever it is, 30 minutes or whatever it might be. Um, which is true in this case. I would, but also
yeah,
that does make it very hard to actually rate for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I agree. And yeah, it's just so it misses the mark in so many ways. I will say the movie. in it's like weirdly well shot. Like the
Yeah.
cinematography is actually really good. Uh, which yeah, I don't know. Maybe that I don't know.
The I'll say too, the music's kind of good. Kind
The
of like the
music
music.
interesting. I will say one of the least interesting parts of the movie, aside from the horrific scene at the toward the end. Uh but throughout the movie there are scenes of the performances. And pretty much everyone is either like laughably bad or uninteresting.
Yeah.
The only time it's ever interesting is like when that girl throws the stuff on the ground and like the other, they fall and she's injured because it's like something happens. But the actual shows themselves are very, to me, were quite uninteresting.
Yeah. Also, I I do wonder where the line is between drawing attention to the over sexualization of women and perpetuating the issue of the over sexualization of women.
Yeah.
Because this movie, I think there's like a total of like, I don't know, 40 minutes in this 130 something minute movie of full clothing. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
and
an insane amount of nudity. There's full nudity, there's a lot of topless nudity. Yeah.
and so it's like
And
it
it's
it
NC-17 for that, basically for that reason.
right. Um and from what I saw, it surprised, well, not surprisingly after, I suppose, but it was like one of the, it might be the only movie that was ever like had a wide theatrical release at NC as a NC-17 movie. And I'm not surprised they don't do that. I mean, like uh not that I am a huge fan of like film censorship or anything, but like it becomes harder to regulate who, if you're letting people younger, do you really care if you let a young kid into, not a young kid, but like somebody younger into an R-rated movie? Right. But like you've got to get like, people have to like actually proctor to make sure that you're not letting like
Yeah, I
kids
mean,
in.
in theory, you're like an under 17 person can go to an R-rated movie with an adult or like with someone over 17 or older, but an NC-17 movie they can't get it at all. So I
Right.
think that's the difference. But yeah, I think this was like they were like NC-17, like, oh, it'll be raunchy, that'll get some attention, and then everyone was like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, and they were like, all right, NC-17, done, never again getting released. So this movie did probably ruin
Ruin
any
that.
NC-17 wide releases for the future. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I think there is that line of like, you know, how much, like, yeah, I don't know. It's tough for me to evaluate really, like, if this is, obviously it's drawing attention to the over sexualization of women in media, in any media, right? Whatever. But also it is a movie where most of the screen time is occupied by overly sexualized women. So like it's so
Yeah.
hard to mesh those two things because I don't know.
Right. And I think if it could have been executed in a better way, then it could have worked better. But I do think also that is kind of like a Paul Verhoeven thing that he likes to do, where like Starship Troopers is this it's a parody of fascist propaganda. And like the movie itself is like this alternate universe piece of fascist propaganda, but by making it so ridiculous and silly, it is a parody of that. And so I feel like maybe he was going, I mean, this was the movie he made right before that. So maybe
Yeah.
he was sort of going for a similar thing here. And it just like blew up in his face and did not work at all, really.
Yeah. I could see that, right? That makes sense. I mean, to me, it does. I think it makes it harder to reckon with the 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 maybe well-intentioned theming of these things, where it's like it does also feel like maybe it's not quite hitting the mark there either, because it kind of feels like it's a
It feels exploitative to you.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
right. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I think I like, essentially, I mean, honestly, like as the movie went on more and more, I just kept being like, wow, this is insane. Like I'm watching this right next to my window. Should I close the blinds? Um, yeah, I don't know. It's not that I like, I don't know. I'm not like a prude or anything, but like it was feeling like a bit more than what needed to be done to make the point.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess maybe it is also like a European thing, perhaps. He's like European. Maybe he just has a little more lax view with like topless nudity. It's like realistic. I mean, it's a topless show. She's a stripper. Realistically, there's going to be a lot of nudity in those environments,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess. Um, but yeah, I will say this movie like has some of the highest like nudity to least sexy sex scenes ratio of all time, where there's so much nudity and the sex scenes are so it's the well, there's really only one. Well, I guess there's the horrific sexual assault scene at the end, which just I wouldn't say is a sex scene really. That's not.
No,
But
definitely
no,
not.
right. I'm just saying that it is
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. I don't think that whatever. It's a different thing. But
yeah.
there's the sex scene with Kyle MacLachlan and Elizabeth Berkley in the pool, which is one of the most insane, ridiculous things. My girlfriend was like in the other room. I was like, you got to come watch this. Like, this is the most ridiculous thing. And yeah, she flops around like a fish, and it's completely ridiculous. And it mirrors the lap dance that she gives him like earlier in the movie, which is also uh just kind of insane. The and it's really a lot of Elizabeth Berkley's mannerisms, the dance moves, everything is like so aggressive. And the
Mm.
line delivery too. Everything is just so aggressive. She's like in your face, boom, and like every movement is like I don't know. I think aggressive is the right way to describe it. Like there's I don't know. There's nothing like soft or sensual or sexy about the performance, which I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. I mean, the movie is like I don't think it's trying to be sexy, but it was kind of marketed that way, I guess. I don't know. It's just such a weird movie.
Yeah, it's very strange. Definitely feels like some things don't match with itself. Like there's a lot that happens and a lot else that happens, and it feels like none of that stuff really works together.
Yeah. Yep.
Not plot wise. Well, I mean plot wise too, to be honest. But I'm
Well, I
thinking more
mean,
just you know, of the movie, not the plot
I
necessarily.
think if I think there's a version of this movie that is very campy and fun and enjoyable, that's shorter, that has less scenes of the showgirl performances, that does not have the stuff with the musician and Molly. Kind of well, Molly could be in the movie. She's good in the movie. The actress is
Yeah.
she does a good job. But all that stuff in the third act, get rid of all that and just make it the drama. Like Gina Gershon as uh Crystal, the
Yeah.
she's the lead, the star of the show. She's like also giving kind of an over-the-top performance, but she's good in the movie, I think. And she's like pretty good as a villain. I think Kyle MacLachlan is really good as a sort of two-faced I don't know, just two-faced producer, like he reprimands someone for trying to sleep with Nomi, and then right after he calls him back and he's like, well, don't worry about it, buddy. Like, I just had to act like I was mad at you. Like, it's not no big deal. Um, so yeah, there are good elements to the movie, and there are enjoyable elements to the movie. I just think the unenjoyable and bad and horrible parts of the movie kind of weigh all that down and make it overall not a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think you're totally right. Like, I think our two main like villains, I guess, in the movie, work really well. I think it's they do really well at providing that conflict, and also I think the overtop performances are kind of a vibe. Like I
Yeah.
think that's the thing, right? Like I think that's what people like about this. Like it, I know I've already said this to you, but it feels like Nicolas Cage and Vampire's Kiss, right? I mean, it's like probably some of the best Cage stuff ever, right? Just because it's so over the top, the alphabet scene, right? And
Mhm.
and in some ways
I'm
a
a
lot.
vampire. I'm a
I'm a
vampire.
vampire. I'm
He's
a
running.
vampire.
Yeah.
And a
Great.
lot, and this feels like you've got a lot of similar vibe to that. And but yeah, I mean, it's hard because in that movie there's no like horrific terrible act at the end of the movie that makes you
Yeah.
wonder why you laughed the whole time. Not during
Yeah.
that scene, during the rest of the movie,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
um and
Yep.
also uh that movie I think is just better. Watch Vampire's Kiss for sure.
Yeah. Vampire's Kiss is awesome. Yeah. Vampire's Kiss is great. I mean, it's bad, but it's great.
Yes, yeah.
Um, yeah, I will say also Glenn Plummer plays James, and like I feel like he's doing a decent job as an actor, but also his character is such a weird, like he doesn't really fit in the story that well. Nomi's kind of just an asshole to him, and he's like kind of infatuated with her, and then it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, nothing, that whole thing doesn't end up mattering at all.
Yeah, it's very, it's just weird that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Glenn Plummer did anything wrong. I just think that whole subplot was uh kind of weird and unnecessary. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um and that's, I mean, I think that's another thing about the movie is that, listen, I know. It's not 90 minutes, blah blah, but also it is long. This is over 2 hours, and there's a lot, like there's a decent amount of like stuff that feels kind of unnecessary. Obviously the third act, like we already talked about, but with the stuff with what was, do you remember his name in the movie? It doesn't matter.
James.
James, right, James. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think like there's a trimmed down version of this that is enjoyable and over the top and funny
Yeah.
and good rewatch, right? Like,
But this is the thing. The movie is the way it is because I think they didn't know how to execute what they were doing. And if they knew to lean into the comedy and stuff, then it actually wouldn't be as funny because then they'd know about it.
mm,
Part of some of these camp classics is that it needs to be unknowingly bad. And that's part of the enjoyment that people get out of it, that it's trying to be serious, but it's failing so miserably that it's funny. So it's kind of a paradox. This whole movie is kind of a paradox.
this is true. I think you're totally right, right? Like the like Neil Breen and stuff, like
Mhm.
he's trying so hard, and you could argue if it works or not, but also those movies are pretty hilarious, like um but this, I feel like the paradox, like you said here, is that they're trying so hard that they do something very serious in the movie that takes away from the rest of it. I mean,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and that provides this weird mismatch of like yeah, it was almost so bad it's good, but now it's also just so bad.
Yeah. And I will say maybe part of the positive cult following of this movie does come as almost a reaction to the mainstream reaction to the movie when it came out. Because I think Elizabeth Berkley, this movie really the public just like hated her after this movie. Like they thought this was the worst performance ever, like absolutely terrible. And I think maybe people had a lot of sympathy for her because ultimately, like, I don't know that her performance is ridiculous and a lot of crazy choices, but yeah, I think people just have sympathy for her and the reaction was kind of over the top, I think, at the time.
Makes
So,
sense.
well, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Over the top reaction for some over the top acting.
I guess so, yeah. But I will say the documentary You Don't Know Me is a very good if anyone is listening to us talk and they're like they want to know more about the movie, more uh, all about it, its cultural impact and all that. I think that documentary is definitely worth watching. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but I'm sure that you can rent it definitely. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely worth watching. So I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I had thought about trying to watch it going into this episode, but I didn't end up watching it, and I forget if, because when I looked it up, I forget if it was streaming. Let me look it up now and just see. But
Oh, you
um
don't I think it's just for rent, but
yeah, it looks like it. Oh, sorry, hold on. It's on AMC Plus.
all right, no one has that, so it's
So
only
it's
available for rent.
insane.
There
The
are there are two humans on Earth with AMC Plus, and
um yeah, so I did think about watching it, but yeah, I think when it wasn't streaming, it would put a
Yeah.
uh,
I,
wrench
I
in
will
it.
say, if you're listening to this and you have AMC Plus or MGM Plus or any of these ridiculous things, comment down why. Is there a reason to? There's too many of them. There's already too many. I did hear that apparently Hulu is getting dissolved into Disney Plus now.
Yeah, which makes sense
It's
since Disney owns them both, and
yeah,
yeah, Disney. I mean,
and
um,
it's all going to be one thing, I guess.
also, just read a book called a new book called Lost in the Stream. Um, Let me double check the author. Uh, Jeff Rousseau, who's a film content creator, reviewer, and whatever, but also from New England, which is where we're from.
Nice.
And the book Lost in the Stream just came out this fall, and it was a delightful read. It's fairly inexpensive for paperback on Amazon. I'm sure you can find it elsewhere as well. And I'm saying this mostly because it talks a lot in there about the history of like from video stores to now, and a lot about particularly like the streaming bubble, as you could imagine by the title. And a fun little thing that I didn't realize is that one of the reasons why all these stupid streaming services popped up is because the companies didn't have the theater outlet to get their movies out, and they were trying to find ways to do that. And so like every production company and their mom made a streaming site, and obviously that is a super not sustainable system that will collapse. And the book gets into a lot of great stuff. So just a quick little plug for that book if anyone is looking for some good stuff to read. And importantly, talks a bit in there about how to kind of break out of the algorithm heavy internet world we live in to find
Mm,
cool movie recommendations. So
there you go. Nice. I will say, I'm glad that I have a decent collection of physical media. So if I ever want to watch, I have a bunch of my favorite movies. I Total Recall and actually Showgirls. I have both of them on Blu-ray. So I can Showgirls. I have both of them on Blu-ray. I can watch them. I got RoboCop. I got Point Break. Has nothing to do with Paul Verhoeven, but Point Break is awesome. I'm probably gonna rewatch it soon, so it's on top of the mind. But yeah, so Blu-rays are awesome if you can afford to grab them, even if just grabbing some of your favorites. Like it is cool still to have them, and they're always available.
yeah, I mean, and it's not like you have to get, like I have some cool like collector's editions of some things or whatever. But if you think of your favorite movie, I'm sure you can find out there. Go to like a video store, go to not a video store, I guess, but go to like a used bookstore, go to something like that. And I'm sure you can find a cheap like $5 Blu-ray for a movie that you're thinking of. So if you're thinking of like renting a
Sometimes,
movie,
yeah.
you can probably
I,
find a cheap Blu-ray on Amazon or something, or on eBay for pretty cheap.
I will say, I feel like a lot of like I feel like the prime era for like $5 to $10 Blu-rays is a little past us. I don't know if it's that they're not producing as many or if like they're just not as available, or maybe it's tariffs, maybe it's just the economy, maybe it's inflation. I don't know. But I feel like it's harder and harder for me. Like 10 years ago, I could just walk into Best Buy and there'd be a $5 Blu-ray bin and you could go in there and
Yeah,
you'd be like, oh, look, the town for $5. I'll get that, or something like actual good movies for $5,
yeah. Although I mean, I
But
think like realistically, tons of people have these things, and everyone's trying to offload them because of streaming. So I think if you jump on
true.
like eBay or Facebook Marketplace, you can probably find some stuff.
Yeah.
Also,
Or even maybe like thrift stores around you.
yeah.
Uh or yeah, like you said, used bookstores and stuff like that.
And the other thing is just in terms of both streaming and physical media, libraries. Libraries,
Yeah.
you can get access if you're in like the Boston area, the Canopy streaming site. You can get access to that. Many other places, not just Boston. I think that's like a pretty universal thing in the states with different public library systems being attached to that. And also, many of them have a good selection of movies too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
physical media.
100%. Support your library. And also, one last thing about streaming, and then we'll get
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Total Recall. Or well, you can do our ratings for Showgirls and all that. our country has laws, antitrust laws and anti-monopoly laws that they never actually like enforce. And all these fucking streaming sites, like Disney Plus, should not be allowed to exist. I think maybe I'm wrong. I'm not an expert, but there is an antitrust law from the 40s, I believe, where I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but the production companies in Hollywood were not allowed to own the theaters where they would show movies because it was considered monopolizing the industry. So there had to be separate uh, people who owned the theaters and people who owned production companies and studios. And now these streaming services are like equivalent to theaters in modern day. And it should not be allowed that Paramount has its own streaming service or that Disney owns Hulu and Disney has Disney Plus and all this shit. So if there's any politicians listening, do your fucking job and stop these corporate scumbags from taking over our country and absolutely destroying uh, the economy and the way our country works.
But Shane, you're forgetting one key thing: money.
Exactly, they're all bought out.
These like
How much?
Disney has so much money. They don't give two shits about the laws.
Well, exactly. But then that's the whole reason you need to uh, enforce antitrust laws so that these companies can't become so big that uh, they can have no repercussions.
But the people that would make and enforce these laws have stock in all this shit that they're allowed to
Yeah,
do. And if
true.
they I mean, they'd make a shit ton of money anyways because they pull stock out before it happens because they're allowed to do that for some reason. But whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Citizens United should be repealed, and people in Congress should not be allowed to own individual stock. It's completely insane. So there you go. There's my soapbox rant
Yeah.
for the
Anyways,
day.
but yeah, so there's
So
a small
Showgirls.
little rant in there about physical media, support your local libraries, all this good stuff. Listen, there's nothing wrong with streaming. We all stream stuff. Also, I mean, hey, fuck the streaming services. If you guys can like share your accounts and whatever, still do it, right? Like, don't be giving them like
Yeah,
all your money because you need like 10 streaming services. You know, I don't know, whatever. Do whatever you
yeah,
want with your money, but you know, anyways.
yeah. I agree. Anyway, show. Is there anything else we want to say about Showgirls before we do our ratings?
It's a weird movie to rate.
It's extremely weird to rate. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. I think of I mean, I kind of think of like 5 stars as my favorite movies of all time and masterpiece level stuff, or my favorites of all time. Some 5 stars maybe aren't masterpieces, but I love them, so they're 5 stars. 4 stars I think of as great. 3 stars is good. And I think of 2 stars as bad, and then 1 star is like awful. And I don't think the movie's quite bad, but I certainly don't think it's good. And in a lot of ways, it is bad. So it's probably leaning closer toward a 2 than a 3. But I think a 2.5 works because it's such a weird mixed bag. And it's so fascinating and unique that I didn't want to rate it any lower. However,
mm,
it is such a failure that, frankly, if you gave it half a star, I wouldn't blame you.
yeah, I did something very similar. I was between 2 and 2.5 stars. And my logic was pretty similar. I think mine was like if if like this was a pretty funny movie. If I had a cut of this movie that was like a little bit shorter, didn't include the stuff at the end and whatever, I would rewatch that. I think that would be that might even be like 4 stars if you cut enough stuff out, which saying that's weird, right? But anyways, um, like it's a fun campy thing. It seems enjoyable, but I think I have enough problems with it where I'm also like, yeah, but also, and of course the crappy, like, of course it's at the end. So like you're leaving this movie with that like right, like that's like the thing you're
Yeah.
thinking of, you know. And
Yeah.
um so it just brings it down so much for me, and it's tough because like as is, I would not rewatch this movie, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
say that the enjoyment I had particularly outweighs the negative feelings I have leaving the movie. And so I'm like, I don't know. I liked it a little bit. I had a lot of like the ketchup bottle was hilarious. Like there's some funny stuff going on. There's some interesting stuff. It's a unique movie. I'll probably never see anything like this ever again. So it does feel harsh giving it 2 stars. So 2.5, I guess.
All
Whatever.
right, all that for 2.5. We're both 2.5.
Fuck it. And the rating recap here is wild.
Yeah,
Letterbox users are freaks, so just kidding, just kidding. But it is
not kidding.
decisively stronger on Letterbox than anywhere else with a 3.4 out of 5, 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 25% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, and 38% audience score. So again, Letterbox is driving that average up a little bit, but the average is 4.575, roughly 4.6 ish average out of 10. So yeah, that
Tough. One of our lowest rated movies we've covered, I'd have to assume.
yeah. I keep saying
Yeah,
one of these days I'll get this all on a spreadsheet, and I don't have it in there. But yeah, I mean
that's
it's pretty
okay.
low.
One
It's
day.
definitely one of our lowest for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. I feel like there's a lot of potential here for something that would have been, a 4 star and a like for me. But
Well, guess what? We're done with Showgirls. It's time for a good movie. It's time for Total Recall. This movie's fucking incredible. It's so good. I'm so glad I picked this. I'm so glad I got to rewatch it. What an incredible experience. Uh yeah, Total Recall. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger is a uh he's Douglas Quaid. He's a working man in a sci-fi future. He he is having dreams of a brunette woman on Mars, even though he's married to Sharon Stone. Uh, and he goes to a place called Total Recall that can give you a memory of a trip, which is not real, but it will feel real to you. And so he decides he wants to be a secret agent on Mars and he wants to have this memory implanted. But when it happens, we realize his memory has already been altered and he has like a freak out. And it turns out he is a secret agent who has his memory has been wiped and he's been given this fake identity. Uh, and yeah, he basically has to, I mean, full spoilers, obviously. He has to get to Mars. There's this basically fascist corporate colonialist power on Mars that oppresses the people of Mars. And he basically ends up helping the rebellion and saves the day. He saves what do they say? He saves the day, he gets the girl, and he whatever. He kills some bad guys, gets the girl and saves the day or something like that.
sure.
But yeah, fantastic movie, great action, great practical effects, great dialogue, great performances. Just a movie. It's from 1990. Shit like this will never be made again. This is just of an era. There will never be a movie made again with this type of these sets and these practical effects. The car with the little AI guy. Guess what? That would be some shitty CGI shit with a CGI background. It's all CGI and it's Death on the Nile and we have CGI. We can't even get on a boat anymore. We have a CGI. We can't even get on a boat, let alone make a sci-fi world. Not to mention there is a remake of this that sucks. But so yeah, this movie's incredible. I love it. And I on this time around, it was clear to me that he really is a special agent whose memory was wiped. And this is not all a dream. This is not all his recall in the thing, which is always the thing about this movie that it's ambiguous. Oh, what's real, what's not? I think it's all real. It all really happens, and none of it is in recall. That's my interpretation at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I love that it's ambiguous. I love that.
I don't think it is ambiguous though.
I mean, at the end they talk about whether or not it's a dream. I
They
think
just say it feels like a dream.
well, he says, "What if it is all a dream?" And
Well,
then she
yeah,
says something like, "Kiss me before it ends" or something. Then
yeah, doesn't mean it's a dream.
but it could be. Also,
But well, there's no evidence of it, I don't think, though.
but when they're loading a thing into him, the memory, there's the guy says blue sky on Mars. That's new as they're starting to load it all in and stuff. And that I think is like the one piece that makes me be like,
That is the weird part. The only weird part to me is that when he is loading on his ideal woman, it's actually a picture of Rachel Ticotin,
yeah,
uh, Melina, you know, uh,
I'm not gonna
and
be the one to pronounce it.
yeah, I can't even say Verhoeven, let alone Ticotin or Ticotin. I don't know.
Yeah, probably Ticotine.
He's
That's
a good
probably it, Shay.
Ticotin. I don't know, man. I don't know. But either way, yeah, but that is probably the most suspicious part of it. But I think he sees her and it is Melina in the dream beforehand as well. So,
Yes, I
so
think
I,
that the dreams are what really kills it. I think it is ambiguous. I think you could argue either way, but I also think it all happens. I think the dreams before he leaves is the
what are
big
we
thing.
arguing?
Well, I just like to say that it's ambiguous, and you said it's not, and I said fuck you. I think
I, this time around, I was watching it. I was like, nah, it's really not ambiguous. I don't think. But this is also like my third, maybe I think third
Mhm.
time seeing it. So the first two times I watched it, I was like, oh, maybe it is, maybe it's not. So it is pretty ambiguous. I'm just maybe
Yeah,
being an
yeah.
asshole. But
No, I mean, I feel like there's like subtle remarks that they make while they're loading the program in, and that's like the main stuff that I think. I mean, for most of the movie, it doesn't even matter, right? For most of the movie, you don't even think about whether or not it's a dream because you just belong for the ride. But there's that moment where they're loading it in. You're like, that's funny that he's choosing to be a super secret agent guy, and maybe he actually is a super secret agent guy. Weird.
right. Right. But yeah, exactly. But he maybe his personality is drawn to that. And that's why he
Yeah.
became a secret agent in the first place. And I think the scene where it really comes up is when the guy comes into his room and he says, "Oh, I'm just in the
Oh, right.
dream.
Yeah, yeah.
You're really in a dream, but you'll never be able to get out." Blah blah blah. All this stuff. And Sharon Stone appears, and then he sees the guy sweating, and he really realizes it's real and all that. And I think you can question that it like obviously, well, that could be within a dream. The whole thing could be within a dream, whatever. But at that point, you're a level of skepticism that is so extreme. It's like, well, yeah, I could be in a dream right now. Maybe I'm not in my home and maybe I'm not on Earth. Maybe I'm inside of a turtle's brain and this is all a dream in an alternate universe. But guess what?
Yeah.
That's just it could be, but
Yeah,
there's no
you
reason to believe that's the case.
right. You get into like simulation theory crap. Like,
Yeah, or like
yeah,
solipsism. Like you could just be a
yeah,
robot. You might not have a consciousness,
right.
but that's unreasonable to think that, I think.
Well, maybe.
Just
But
NPC Ryan.
but yeah, I mean, I think there is a few like remarks like the blue sky on Mars thing is really what like that's a stickler for me because it's like it's just interesting that it all lines up exactly like the thing they were going to load into him seems very similar to what ends up happening,
That is
which
true.
could just be a coincidence.
That is true. I just think I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's tough when he has the dreams beforehand, so it is also like, and the guy sweats, and those are like I know that like sounds small, but
And,
also that's like
and this time around, I was really convinced of it, honestly. The beginning of the movie, when he does not know anything before he's gone to recall, all that stuff convinced me that he really is like a secret agent because the way Sharon Stone is acting was very suspicious and that I could you could tell she is acting and has these ulterior motives and the guy the guy that he works with like he's like oh don't go there they fry that guy's brain and then he like kind of gives him a weird look afterwards and then
yeah,
obviously well that's after he goes he tries to kill him but still like just the way they were acting beforehand now that I've seen the movie multiple times and I know what happens I was like oh yeah they're acting suspiciously because they are being not being truthful with him and they're undercover.
right. Yeah, I mean I think largely I think that the argument that it is real is a stronger argument. But I think people can argue it. And
And I think, you know what, the themes of colonialism and exploitation of people, these corporate scumbags that we were just talking about, taking advantage of people and not caring whether they live or die, only caring about their own profits. Um, that's all so great and truthful that to say, oh, it was all a dream, well, that it kind of takes away from the themes of the movie, which is kind of it's one of the most important parts of the movie.
true. Um, yeah, that's a good point. Also, speaking of corporate scumbags, I just want to say how many times I noticed Pepsi in this movie.
Oh, interesting. Was
You're
there a
on
lot of
Mars. Come the fuck on, dude. Come on.
it could be Pepsi on Mars?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Pepsi paid the money enough to put Pepsi on Mars, but
That's
also,
fair. I will say I didn't notice.
yeah. I think I don't know. I think I don't know. There's like I'm like product placement is killing me right now. I don't know. I feel like I'm noticing it everywhere.
Yeah, it,
Um,
it does suck. Yeah.
yeah, but whatever. I think part of it. I just read this book that I recommended, and there's a little bit of that pessimism of corporations and stuff like that. Not that I think the book necessarily induces that in you. I think still read the book, but whatever.
Like, go read this book. It made me
Yeah,
angry at corporations
I'm
and like,
so upset.
yeah,
um, but yeah, I mean, I think so. Anyways, I think yeah, you can probably this is probably real. I mean, stuff happens.
yeah.
The
But
whole yeah,
regardless, I think the movie. I just think it's incredible the high level of entertainment value and the thematic deepness of it all. And it's fun, it's exciting, it's well made, and also it has really deep and interesting themes and social critiques. I mean, this is also right after RoboCop, so it makes sense. These are kind of that both have that element to them.
yeah. And it's got some just pretty awesome world building too, right? Like
Yeah.
the the people with mutations and the bubbles, the domed areas, I guess, that pay for air, right? The just the seeing the whole Martian setup and even seeing stuff
Mhm.
on Earth beforehand, it just feels like like I'm like, dang, not that I actually want this, but I'm like, dang, this could have had like you could have had multiple things in this world, like multiple movies in this world. Again, not that I really would want that, but like it was such a well built world that I could see a whole bunch of stuff happening here. A trip to that Saturn place, and it's like, oh, what's happening on the moons of Saturn that he's gonna, whatever. But again, not that I actually want a franchise here, but I feel like the world was just so well built that I just want more of it. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I agree. And it's I think it's because it's all real. It's all real sets, it's all real like
Yeah,
effects. The blood, the squibs are so awesome.
yeah.
And like it's just all it's so great.
I mean, this movie is also just gory and unforgiving. I mean, like
Yeah.
unrelenting too. I mean, like there's one scene he's going on this escalator, and there's just a poor little fucking guy in front of him who gets obliterated.
Yeah.
And
Well, he gets shot. He gets killed by one of the bad guys, and then Arnold uses him as a human shield, and he gets lit up.
oh man. And then at the very end, Arnold throws him at some people below him on the escalator, and runs
Yeah.
away. And like, oh man, I think and the movie itself has quite a bit of those awesome blood splatter effects and everything. Um and that I think there's just so many scenes though of like whether it's the bad guys or the good guys just like walking into a room and just shooting everyone. There's like
Yeah.
the that at the bar, and then there's like even at
Yeah.
the end when they all surround Arnold and they're shooting, but it turns out it's the hologram. And then
Which was
Arnold pops out behind all of them and just starts plowing them down. Like,
yeah, mowing
oh
down.
man, guys.
Yeah. That was very silly that they are shooting in a circle and they would be killing each other.
Uh, which is funny because none of them actually hit each other, but then later on,
That does
Um,
happen.
it
Yeah.
does happen. They use the hologram to make people shoot each other. But
Yeah, that was kind of stupid, but regardless, there are silly things in the movie, like
yeah.
the X-ray thing, and then like Arnold's going through and he breaks through it, and
Oh, that
like
was fun though.
it
Cool
is
as hell.
fun. It is, and also Arnold being undercover as that lady, the uh 2 weeks lady. Also, Ryan, I don't know if can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do
you're
you hear me?
frozen. Oh,
Yeah. There we go.
your video froze for a sec. I don't know if you cut out.
I could hear you. I could see. It just seemed like my video wasn't working. But
Okay, cool. So we're still recording. We're
yeah,
good.
yeah.
All right. But yeah, the Arnold when he's like undercover as the lady, the 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and then all that. Really awesome, but
So
also like
good.
silly. And
Yeah.
then the glass gets broken. They're all flying out and all this. Like there is a lot of silliness in the movie, but I don't know. It's just all so likable to me and enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean it's very like it's just some of it's like maybe campiness, right? Like not necessarily camp in like the same way as like Showgirls, but like of like the 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and then the helmet just the head thing goes
Yeah.
and although I don't know, like even maybe that's not even camp, it's just awesome. Like it's just
Hmm.
cool, right? And just
Hmm.
works. And but yeah, I mean there's a lot of silly stuff. I mean, even the whole premise at the end of like the melting the glaciers to unleash oxygen, which
And
is it insane how one how fast that works and two
yeah.
that even works because our atmosphere has like 20% like 25% oxygen or something. Like oxygen would not solve the problem.
Yeah, and you wouldn't you need like a stronger atmosphere to keep everything in
Yeah,
and
right.
all
Like
like
Mars's gravity isn't actually as good as ours, so it can't keep the stuff. Like there's a reason it doesn't have an atmosphere.
yeah, so it's kind of it doesn't really make any sense, but
But
it
it's
kind of
fun.
works. It
Yeah.
works. And then maybe like also the funny dialogue throughout and the fast pacing of it, like you
Oh
don't
yeah.
necessarily have to think about the silly aspect, like the nonsensical aspects of it. But I think the themes are really strong. I mean, it's based on a Philip K. Dick short story, so there's a lot of thought-provoking ideas, about identity and I mean, I really like the quote. Uh, it's Quado at the basically right before he gets killed, that a man is defined by his actions, not his memory. And I was like, oh yeah, that is that. There you go. There's a yeah. What defines a person? You know what I mean? Is it our memories? Is it our what is it? Our souls, or maybe it's our actions? But yeah, I don't know. Just such a good movie, man. Just so good. Sometimes when we cover really great movies on the podcast, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, it's just so good. You watch it and you're just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And
I
and
mean, yeah, I mean it just it's you get the practical effects, you get the cool ass like real stuff is being made. You got miniature sets,
yeah,
you
the
got real
miniatures of
sets.
Mars and all that. Yeah.
Love that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
Yeah.
And it all just builds together and the fact that it's all encased in this really well built and cool ass sci-fi world and Arnold's here kicking butt and it's gory and relentless and you get to watch him beat the crap out of fascists. And
Yeah.
also, you know what's crazy is that like we said the pacing it's like nonstop, but also the amount of times where like it seems like and I've seen this movie before, so I know I knew what was happening, but like the amount of times where you're watching this and it seems like there's an impossible chance that they might survive, and then they do, and like everything works out, and like but like when the drill's coming at them
Yeah.
and it's like at the very last minute it cuts both their arms, but then it works that he's able to get it stopped.
And it breaks through the wall that to get to the reactor. Somehow the cab driver just appears in the like drill tank, whatever that is.
Yeah. And so like every like unprecedented odds that they would
Yeah.
survive these things, right? But
Yeah.
it's like some of the most like cornered a protagonist may have ever been in this movie, and then able to get out of it. So it's
Yeah,
it's
that
like
happens with when he's undercover as the lady.
yep,
Like
yep.
he's surrounded, and then like the glass breaks and all chaos happens, and he just sneaks out.
Yeah. And of course when he's like surrounded, but it's the hologram, but you don't know
Yeah,
that, right? There's like so many times in this where it's like, I think on a first watch especially, it's like, oh man, he's like, what, they're done, right? And like the people in the dome place that can't breathe, and then they're able to get everything going just in time, and even Arnold um and his companion when they get flung outside and they're unable to breathe, but then
yeah, Melina.
yeah, and eventually they're able to and stuff. And so like everything is just like perfect timing, right? Like but every moment it's like it's not just that it's well paced, but it's like you're always like on the edge of your seat thinking like is is this the end? Like could they die here? Obviously not really, but like it never lets up that
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, 100%. And like the chase element of it is always like once he's figures out what's going on, he's always just being chased by people pretty much. So it's just an entertaining thing for a movie. Like he's always on the move. There's always people after him. It just keeps everything going so well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's just awesome. There's the like every also the X-ray thing. I feel like I don't know
Mm.
how they did it, but it must be computer graphics.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's just such a cool early use of that type of thing where it's like they mix that with the breaking of the glass to make like a cool computer graphics slash practical effect thing that is just kind of goofy and kind of fun and totally works. And not everything in the movie has to be computer made and like pretty much in the remake, right? I mean, um,
Yeah.
and also, sorry, also the DeLorean style, like every car is like
Yeah.
geometric DeLorean-esque, right?
Awesome.
Pretty awesome. And the cab driver, um, oh man, when the cab driver and he gets in the car and he's trying to run and he's like drive drive, and the cab driver's like I don't know that location, and it's like
Yeah.
very relevant I feel like today with like when
Yeah.
you're like using your phone or whatever and like it tries to auto predict what you're
All
trying
this
to.
AI shit.
Yeah.
And you know what he does? He rips that clanker right out of the driver's seat and drives himself.
Yeah, right, like I feel like yeah, if you ask your phone's automated thing, I won't say it so that people's listening your phone won't
Oh
do this,
yeah.
but um
I don't have that on. Just turn it off.
but you ask that thing something and it's not going to tell you the right thing. I mean, obviously, sure, it's getting better, whatever, blah, blah. But like, but I feel like it was very on point of like the frustration today that people have when they're trying to do something online and the thing that you're trying to use to do that never knows what you're actually trying to do, you know?
Yeah. And another funny thing is was the advertisements on the subway, I thought, which they happen to be like actually extremely helpful to him in the movie. But just the idea of like these TVs on the subway and these ads playing all the time. It's like when you're like filling up gas and then they start
Yeah.
an
Oh,
ad at the gas station and there's all these fucking advertisements everywhere. Uh just kind of
Pepsi.
sucks. This one, I mean, yeah, ironic, but yeah, this one doesn't lean into that as much, just because there's so much going on with the plot and it's always moving forward, I guess. But yeah, almost feel like Total Recall and Idiocracy would be a good double feature.
I thought the same thing, particularly with like the Pepsi thing, because it's nowhere near as heavily. Yeah, I'm saying this. People are gonna be like, "Dude, it happens twice or something or whatever." But in Idiocracy, I feel like the total abundance of the brand stuff is like a parody of obviously of branding and all that stuff.
Mm.
And
And advertisement run amok.
yeah, and here it's like the part of the main point here is this capitalist pig trying to force people to buy oxygen, right? To
Yeah,
buy air. And so the fact that there's like the advertisement thing in it, I almost feel like it's like a parody of like, oh, look, they like Pepsi's on Mars, like everyone, but obviously I don't think that's really the case, but I can feel the similarities there of like yeah, just of this and Idiocracy in that way of um
yeah,
satirizing commercialism like that.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I love the movie. I know this is for transparency for everyone listening. This is a late recording session. So I mean, I don't know if I have that much more to say about Total Recall. I fucking love the movie. Arnold's great. Sharon Stone's great. The villains are all really iconic and memorable. Quado, the reveal of
Yeah,
Quado is so awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, and just like everything about it just slaps, dude. It's so good.
yeah. This movie's pretty awesome. It's funny going back. Are we good to go into ratings? If so, I can
I'm
say
good if you are.
cool. Yeah, because going into this movie again, I had seen this once before. I think with you, Shane, we'd watched it together, and I think for some reason after that first viewing, I gave it 3.5 stars. I think out of five. And in hindsight, I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
And not based. Not
Yeah,
based.
and this time around, I'm slapping this up to 4.5 stars. I could honestly,
Pretty based.
this is like pretty close to 5 stars. I could just throw the 5 star on there, but I'm just gonna leave it at 4.5 for now. But part of that is because I feel like I just want to rewatch this again. Like I think the next time I watch this is bound to be a 5 star movie. So I don't know what's keeping me back, but whatever. I 4.5 stars. It was awesome. Some of the honestly what it is, I'm a science teacher, right, y'all, and sometimes
The
this
silly science and takes away
yeah, I
half
mean
the
it's
story.
nowhere near as bad as like like Transformers or movies where they actually just like spew nonsense out of their mouths. Like this, whatever. I don't really care that much, but also, y'all, that's not really how that works, But not that it
It-
matters. It doesn't really
well,
matter.
it's alien technology from 500, what is it, 500,000 years ago or something like that,
Five
they
hundred
said.
million, I think. Yeah,
Oh, maybe 500 billion, yeah.
but
Well, so I actually, funny enough, all my viewings of this are on my letterbox. This is why letterbox is so useful. The diary feature. I've been on letterbox, I think, since 2017, which is ridiculous that that's
oh,
8 years. Yeah. So my first viewing of Total Recall, I gave it 4 stars. My second viewing, 4.5. So I think you can tell this viewing, 5 star banger. Amazing movie. Just, so I think, sometimes you just got to be loosey goosey with the 5 stars. And when you just love a movie, you just give it 5 stars.
yeah,
Why not? There's
yeah,
there's no rules to this shit. And I think the movie's fantastic. Super rewatchable, super enjoyable. And and also this is just right up my alley. This type of like sci-fi future dystopia satire, just like my absolute favorite type of movies. Like uh so yeah, I love it. 5 stars for me, but we can do the rating recap.
yeah. Nice. Yeah. This is so it's got a 3.8 out of 5 on Letterbox. Which just to point out real quick, by the way, is only zero point 0.4 higher than Showgirls, but it's fine. Um, it's got a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 81% critic score, Rotten Tomatoes, and 79% audience score. So, fairly good stuff here.
Yeah.
Coming in at a 7.775 out of 10 average. So, on the higher end here, almost not quite 8, but towards there. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be a little bit higher. But you know what? I gave it 3.5 stars my first time watching it for whatever reason. I think it's one that does just it's awesome. It gets better every time you watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agreed. I will say this movie was shot by Jost Vacano. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he also shot RoboCop, Starship Troopers, and Showgirls.
Wow.
Yeah, so same cinematographer for all his movies. He didn't shoot Basic Instinct, but he did shoot Hollow Man and a couple of his Dutch movies and some other movies like Neverending Story. So yeah,
Wow.
kind of cool that it's the same cinematographer, and clearly he knows what he was doing. He's
Yeah.
super
Looks
talented,
good.
super well shot movie. So yeah, shout out to Jost or Joost, maybe Joost. I don't know. I think he's Dutch, so a little tough.
Nice.
I don't speak Dutch, but all right. Do they speak Dutch, right? Am I crazy?
um, I don't know. I'd believe
Hey,
you if you said that.
we're just a couple of ignorant Americans. We don't know anything. And moving on. I guess that's that for our Paul Verhoeven week on the podcast. One fantastic movie, one interesting movie. Uh, so that was Total Recall. And at the end of every episode, at the end of every episode, we pick our topic for our next full episode, which will be in 2 weeks. I will say our episode coming up next week is going to come out on the day before Halloween. So we're going to be
Yeah.
doing our, we're each going to be giving our top five underseen horror movies, which will be horror movies with under 50,000 views on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
So thought it'd be cool to recommend some lesser known horror movies for Halloween. Eh,
Yeah, awesome stuff. Looking forward to that. And also, if you're looking for anything just to watch on Halloween, we also have a episode that we did last week out. So if you haven't seen that yet, that's just our picks for Halloween stuff. So we've got like comedies, sci-fi, all that stuff on there, different genres.
Yep.
So lots
Yeah.
of great horror content this month from us.
Yeah, definitely go check it out. And November is coming up kind of soon, and we have some fun plans for Nick Cage November. So yeah, this will be fun. But before we get to that, we're gonna have to do another regular episode. I'm shaking the cup, the category cup on YouTube. You can tell my eyes are closed. No cheating. I'm pulling the category for our next full episode, which is gonna be Gaspar Noé, who is the director of a bunch of completely insane movies, and I can't believe I have to watch two of them in the next 2 weeks. I definitely put this in here.
Yeah, you did.
Uh,
Although, oh man, the problem is Irreversibles on my list for a while, but I don't think that's a good one to talk about on the podcast.
that's very fair. I think there are other options that are not irreversible.
We have a miserable time talking about movies that have things like that.
Yeah, yeah. We can stay
Because
away from irreversible for sure.
yeah.
I Yeah, I mean, I think there are just two real obvious ones, being Enter the Void and
Climax.
Climax.
Yeah.
Love is also kind of actually really like it, but there's like a unsimulated sex and stuff in it, and it's pretty crazy. Uh, I think those are the best ones to talk about on on the podcast, to be honest. I have not seen I Stand Alone, which is like his first movie, but that's okay. Well, I will say, sometimes we pick and it's like, oh man, so many to choose from.
Yeah.
This one, not many to choose from.
True.
So
Um,
if you want to look through and see what stands out to you, I might just
I mean, honestly, I'm down to do a Climax Enter the Void episode. That sounds like a pretty
cool.
sick episode. So
Cool. Have you seen? You haven't seen either?
I've not. They're both
All right,
on my
cool.
list. So
All right. I mean, can I pick Enter the Void?
sure.
I love Enter the Void. All right, cool.
Nice.
That's why I put Gaspar Noé in here.
Oh,
But yeah,
nice.
this guy completely absolutely insane. I will say Enter the Void. If you have epilepsy, don't watch it.
Ah, that's a
It's
good warning.
the opening credits are completely insane and will probably give you a seizure. So fair warning for that. And I think they happen like halfway through the movie or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, it's an awesome, insane movie, but fair warning to people watching it.
So I'm picking the 97-minute climax is what I'm picking.
Oh,
And
that's a long
Shane,
climax, dude.
Shane, you're
That's
picking, and Shane, you're picking.
Enter the Void, which is according to Letterboxd 161 minutes. But I will tell you what, Enter the Void 5 stars. Climax, I gave 3 stars.
Whoa.
I only saw it one time in the theater. I want to rewatch it. It's a cool. I've kind of wanted to rewatch it for a long time, so good reason to rewatch it for the show.
Hell yeah.
So I'm happy with these picks.
Yeah, this will be awesome. I might end up oh man, I don't know. I might end up watching Irreversible at some point. Since we're doing this episode.
Irrever-
But
Irreversible is a very good movie. It's just that
yeah.
one scene is pretty awful, but the uh the structure of it going like from the
Yeah.
end of the story to the beginning is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it's I mean, there's a reason it's been on my list for so long. There's a reason all three of these have been. So I'm glad I get to knock off two of these with this at least.
Yeah, this is cool. You've never seen a Gaspar Noé movie and you're gonna jump right into the deep end.
Hell
Oh yeah.
yeah.
All right, cool.
Um,
Well, that was the easiest
that was
choosing movies we've ever had to do.
yeah, that was pretty easy right there.
You probably don't even have to edit any of that.
No, no, that'll be easy.
Okay. Well,
Sick.
there we go. I guess that is it for this episode. That ended up being probably a pretty short episode, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So I guess that's it. There's, check out, subscribe so you can stay updated for our Gaspar Noé episode and for our upcoming stuff, Halloween and Nick Cage November. It's a festive time of the year. So yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube, on the podcast apps. We're on like most of them. And go check. We have an Instagram, we have a letterboxd, which is Mind Your Movies, all one word. From there, you can find both of our individual letterboxds. They're linked in the bio. Uh, and yeah, I guess that's all we have to say. Maybe last
yeah.
thing is uh, everybody got AIDS and shit. Don't forget to mind your movies.
Yeah, we didn't want to use that quote at the very beginning, but
Might as well put it at the end.